And it looks like oil demand continues its drop. McmoRan looks at taking Blackbeard even deeper, and Pioneer Natural Resources slashes its capital budget. All this and more on today's Energy Scout News. Hello and welcome back once again to Energy Scout News and Information. I'm Red Byers. The demand for crude oil continues to sink, but dragging prices down with it. New numbers show that worldwide demand last month dropped a staggering 1.83 million barrels per day from October of 2007. The biggest drop, surprisingly, came from the United States. American demand dropped nearly 7% for the month. McmoRan Exploration and his partners are looking at whether or not to go deeper with Blackbeard. The deepwater Gulf of Mexico discovery has yielded 4 potential hydrocarbon-bearing zones since the well was taken from 30,000 to about 33,000 feet. Seismic data leads McmoRan to believe Blackbeard could become a major discovery with the additional drilling on the flanks. The company picked the project up after ExxonMobil had abandoned a probe before reaching its targeted depth. Oilfield service contractors may need to tighten their belts next year. Falling oil prices and weak financial markets are expected to affect their earnings in 2009. Exploration companies have started putting the brakes on spending plans, and that means less work for service companies. Industry leaders are saying it's uncertain just how far the downturn will go, but some seem optimistic things will turn themselves around.
And despite the growing prospects of a global economic slowdown and related decrease in hydrocarbon demand, we continue to believe in the long-term fundamentals of the oil and gas industry. We expect that any major macroeconomic disruptions will ultimately correct themselves.
Geothermal interest heats up in the north, but first, a look at today's People on the Move. Chet Morrison Contractors announced that Martin R. Farron has been hired as Chief Executive Officer. Troy Trosclair has been appointed as the MMS Gulf of Mexico region's new Deputy Regional Supervisor for District and Field Operations. And finally, Pyramid Petroleum Incorporated has appointed Jim Frazier as its new Chief Financial Officer. Producer Pioneer Natural Resources said it plans to slash its 2009 capital budget anywhere from 30 to 60%. Now, the company cited the drop in oil prices as well as increased capital cost. Loans are harder to get these days, which is forcing some producers to restrict their budgets until the capital markets loosen. Pioneer reported a loss of $3 million for the third quarter, and according to Pioneer CEO Scott Sheffield, we feel like we need to operate as though we're in a $60 oil and $6 gas environment. It may last for several months. Murphy Oil's new Thunderhawk is already in the shop. The new-build semi-submersible is in a Port Arthur, Texas shipyard for repairs. Its hull was damaged during loadout in Singapore, and the extent of the damage has not yet been made public. The company believes the ship will be ready for first oil production in the second quarter of 2009. Alaska's not just oil and gas pipelines these days. The state's increased its interest in geothermal as well. Alaska recently offered several leases on the south slope of a volcano near Anchorage known as Mount Spur. All 16 tracts received offers, and that's a stark contrast to the last time Alaska made the same offer a quarter of a century ago and received almost no interest at all. The Alaska Energy Authority is currently reviewing grant requests from about a dozen geothermal prospects. And that's it for today's Energy Scout News. For more information on these stories and more, be sure to check out the news section on our site. And remember, if you have any news tips from around the energy industry, you can email us at news@energyscout.com. As always, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.